Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today we're discussing the Roost and of course Brewster and talking a bit about how he would be introduced to New Horizons should Nintendo ever decide to put him in the game. It's a fun one, so without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So as I'm sure you know by now, after almost 3 months since the most recent update to New Horizons, we have finally caught up with all of the content that was added to New Horizons, including seasonal celebrations like Mother's Day and Tanabata, as well as refreshed events including May Day and being able to meet Rover for a second time, and of course a handful of exclusive items that have all now been distributed and are no longer time locked. It was a fairly small update considering the content spanned 3 months, and July probably being the quietest month of the year for events and holidays. However, now that we are all caught up and with recent confirmation from Nintendo that there is more to come in terms of updates, we are probably only weeks if not days away from the next update. Of course, one of the biggest rumours and hopes from the community is that when we do see the next update is that Brewster will finally return to the franchise too. So with this in mind, whether he returns next month or next year, I thought it would be fun to take a look at how he would actually join New Horizons and settle into island life, because based on current characters, it could be a variety of different ways. Now just quickly for those new to Animal Crossing, Brewster is quite the character and dates all the way back to Wild World. He's a pretty reserved pigeon who runs the roost and has appeared in every game since, excluding New Horizons for now. The Roost is of course the local coffee house or cafe where not only will you find Brewster serving coffee 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but often meet other villagers or travelling characters taking a break from their daily chores to grab a coffee. As you'd expect, with each iteration of the Roost offers a unique twist on the role of the shop too. In Wild World you could buy and drink coffee whilst watching KK Slider perform live music every Saturday night. In Let's Go to the City it was much the same, but Brewster offered a bonus gyroid storage service given he's such a fan of the items. And in New Leaf, Brewster changed things up again and offered you part-time work, introducing a whole new coffee mechanic that saw several hundred permutations of types of coffee that you could make for your villagers. It was pretty cool. Now traditionally the Roost was found inside the museum and available from the moment you started playing the game, but by the time New Leaf was released, the Roost was upgraded to a standalone building that required unlocking before being built. So by considering how the Roost has evolved over the years, as well as looking at how characters in New Horizons are introduced to island life, we get a good idea of how Brewster and the Roost would be added to New Horizons in the future. The most obvious choice would be as an instant building upgrade to the museum, where once the update has gone live, the museum is upgraded and we can head straight over and grab a coffee. This wouldn't be too unrealistic given that's how the art exhibition was added, but technically even that required unlocking, as you first had to buy a piece of art from Red and show it to Brothers before the museum being remodeled. So although that's a possibility, it's probably not likely. Given Animal Crossing New Horizons has a heavy focus on the travelling characters, it's much more likely we'll see Brewster visiting the plaza randomly, much like Kix or Leaf, with a coffee cart, possibly similar to how he appears in Pocket Camp. Then from there on we could probably buy a coffee or two, or maybe even buy coffee beans which could be used as gifts for friends or villagers. Of course, over time, after buying coffees on say 5 or so separate encounters, Brewster would then come around to island life and suggest bringing his business to the island permanently. Introducing Brewster slowly and offering a way to unlock the Roost as an actual cafe that would be open 24/7 would give players something to work towards without updating and suddenly having Brewster available. We've seen this kind of introduction before with Mabel, who for those who have been playing for some time may have forgotten she was originally a travelling character who set up shop at the plaza before becoming a permanent resident. Back then Mabel would appear randomly on a weekday and players had to buy 5 items costing over 5,000 bells on 2 separate occasions before the Able Sisters building was unlocked and she'd move in. I think this kind of introduction is much more likely than having the Roost instantly available. Now, whether or not Brewster starts out island life as a travelling character or simply a museum upgrade, the next thing to consider is, will Brewster be running the Roost inside the museum like in Wild World and Let's Go to the City, or as a standalone building like in New Leaf? Well, to be honest, it could go either way. There are players who would prefer a standalone shop, with others hoping the Roost would be added to the museum. Personally, as awesome as it would be to have a shop, at this point in the game with millions of veteran players having fully developed islands, it makes more sense to add the Roost to the museum to save space. To add weight to this, there has been several tiny details data mined over the last year or so, from camera parameters to entrance labels, that suggest that if or when the Roost is added to New Horizons, it will be linked to the museum somehow. That doesn't mean to say it would be inside the museum, maybe it could even be attached to the outside with a separate doorway. At this point, the possibilities are endless. Of course, no matter how Brewster would be added to New Horizons, he would be a very welcomed addition to the game, and we can only hope Nintendo comes through with a significant update that sees the Roost return. But what do you think about Brewster? If he's added in the future, would it be better to see him as a travelling character first, and would you want him to be a part of the museum? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up this video. Of course, I'd like to thank all of the Patreon and channel members for supporting this content and helping me upload as regularly as I do. I couldn't do it without you. As always, if you made it to the end of the video, be sure to leave a like and comment Roost just to let me know you did. That would be super awesome, and be sure to include your honest opinion of whether or not you think Nintendo will add Brewster to the game. I'd love to know. Anyway, until next time, have an amazing day, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.